Welcome to another episode of the Leverage Podcast. I am your host, John Davidson, and today I'm very excited about this industry where we were talking about directly, positively impacting lives. My guest today is the founder and CEO of Encompass Life, Mark Scherer. Welcome to the show today.
Thank you, sir. Good to be here.
I'm excited to have you, especially after the conversation we had the other day, learning all about your career path, all about what you've developed and how you're helping folks at Encompass Life. So, for our audience listening and watching, why don't we start off with sharing what exactly is Encompass Life?
That's a great question. I ponder how to answer this question bunches of times, but but we're a life coaching conglomeration of life coaches who all have the same training. We have a university here at Encompass Life where we actually train life coaches, and we as our people graduate, we have a team of coaches. We take the cream of the crop and bring them in house, and we keep expanding our own coaching stable. And what we're here, the system we have here, is a way for people to have breakthrough results in all areas of life simultaneously and exponentially. It's a very, very unique system, and it can work in a matter of seconds or minutes, and it's
Wow.
very different than anything very different than anything I've been involved with.
That's wonderful. It is always surprising to me how powerful the mind is. And there's a quote that comes to mind to me. Whether you think you can do something or you think you can't, you're probably right. That's one that I've heard. And um,
Henry Ford.
is that Henry Ford? Okay, I wasn't sure
That's
who
Henry
was the
Ford. Yes, sir.
who's quote. Well, he's got some good ones, right? And he's somebody that a lot of people have learned from.
Yes, sir.
And I've seen in my own personal life, I've had cycles that I get stuck in. I've had limits that I impose on myself because of my thinking. And I've worked with a
Yes.
coach that helped me greatly. And so while I have not yet worked with Encompass Life, I have experienced some of those benefits to really working on yourself and enabling your mind um, to overcome some of these limitations we put on us ourselves. But I don't want to put words in your mouth. I want to hear it directly from you. Please, to start out, take me through your path and where you started and how you ended up founding this organization.
I've been involved with, I've been studying consciousness for over 40 years now, and this is something I've been interested in since I was a kid. I just didn't know what it was called. I observed, I guess, adults and watched, was somewhat aware of their languaging and how they spoke and the drama, drama that was going on in their lives. Didn't really have the distinctions to be able to do anything with it. I would just sit there and just kind of watch it. And
Hmm.
as I got older, I became it. And when I remember taking some classes in parochial school in high school and having to write papers, and we had a class called guidance, and it was a Catholic school, and the nuns they would say, "Man, you got tremendous religious insight. You ever thought about becoming a priest?" And I was like, "I like girls way too much to become a priest, man." So but I was always interested. I was always interested in that, and I wasn't. My writing ability sucked, but but somehow or another, when I wrote about this like spirituality and consciousness, somehow or another, all this stuff was like just coming through me. So I didn't know
Huh.
what to do with it or how to make a living out of it or anything. But so I've been involved with it since I was a kid. Um, I went to school, majored in engineering, and I didn't like that at all. Started my own business. I hit, kind of like you, hit and miss, like ups and downs in it. Um, I was one thing that was consistent when I was in business. I was making money and spending my money to go to retreats and learn more about consciousness. And somebody would come to my office, and instead of talking about my business, I wanted to talk about consciousness with them. And so
Yeah.
I didn't think I could make a living out of it. You know, I got to make money so I can go do this in my spare time. And anyway, as the years progressed and I started taking greater and greater amounts of classes, I people would come to my office and they go, "Hey, Mark, can you coach me on this?" And I started getting clients all over the world just from word of mouth. And
Wow.
I hated what I was doing. And in 2008, 2009, I that was when we had a really severe economic slowdown, and I was praying on like how do I get out of this business I hate, and I had a friend of mine's son working for me embezzled a bunch of money, and that gave me
Oh,
the exodus of how to get out. Went through a really dark time during that moment, during those years, and
wow.
and it was where I rebuilt my life based on what I really love to do rather than what I felt obligated to do in order to make enough money to be happy or whatever, whatever all that rat race was. So I
Right.
reinvented myself and started doing just what I love, and things changed my life very quickly.
Wow. So you're
And
really kind of
now
down
we
in the,
have. Go ahead.
I was just saying, so you're,
Yeah,
recapping, you're kind of down in the
like
dumps
J.K.
here.
Rowling, rock bottom is the firm found. Yep,
Yeah. So,
yep. Like J.K. Rowling said, rock bottom is a firm foundation upon which I rebuilt my life. So
that's a
I think a
great
lot of people go
quote.
through that before they kind of start to figure life out.
Yeah. So take me through so you
I
hit
think we're
rock
having a bit
bottom
of an
here.
internet connection here.
Is it a little bit, is it lagging a little bit for you?
There's a little bit of delay in it. Yeah, a little bit of a
Let
lag.
me, let me in here. So take me to this moment when you are at rock bottom and you build to what you've accomplished now. How
Yeah.
did you take those steps to get off the rock bottom and start to elevate again?
Well, the rock bottom occurred. I had the embezzlement occur, and I shared with my banker about how I had embezzlement, and they said, "Hey, we're going to work with you to get you through this deal." And I had also at that time I had some severe health issues where I had gotten into an accident, and I was having difficulty walking. I ruptured a bunch of discs in my back and some other things as well. So I was pretty tough rock bottom in health and the financial side happening all at the same time. So
Yeah.
I one on Friday, November the 13th, 2009, after my bank had sent me they was going to work with me, they called my line of credit due unbeknownst to me and swept my bank account.
Oh my
And so I
goodness.
had 85 employees. Yeah, yeah. I had 85 employees went to the bank, and there was no money in the bank account. They couldn't cash their checks.
You're
So,
getting hit from every
so
side.
every side, guy, every side. And, I had been doing all this personal growth work, John, but it was all based in this you got to think positive and don't think negative stuff. I'm sure you've heard those types of
Sure.
those types of things, right?
Yeah.
Well, for me, that was like one more voice in my head trying to manage all the other voices. And yeah, I had some success with it, but it wasn't really like it was this up and down, exciting life. A lot like a roller coaster, a lot of ups and downs, peaks and valleys,
Yeah.
but no real satisfaction. I would manifest something. I had nice boat, nice house, and no matter what I had, it still wasn't enough.
Mm.
So when everything kind of crashed, I had to re revisit my life. And go, what's really important to me,
Yeah.
and I remember going, man, like like making a prayer, like God, show me the way here, man. Well, the
Mm-hmm.
next week I'm in a introduction with a guy who gave me the bones of what we're doing here at Encompass Life, some of the foundational pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And his thing, rather than thinking positive and negative type of deal, don't think positive, don't to think positive, don't think negative. He dealt a lot with feelings. He said feelings were 80% of a manifestation. You can say
Interesting.
all the right things, do all the right things, but really, you know, but the feeling side is where the rubber really meets the road. So if if you're having issues, if you're not fulfilled, if you have frustration, then your manifestation is going to have frustration in them. So
That makes sense.
I started to look at, yeah, it does. I mean, I was like, oh, like this is different than the way other people were sharing it, because they were saying if you think this way, then you're going to feel this way. Well, the way we do it here is if you can change your feelings, you can change your thoughts. And how I equate that to, here's a real applicable way people can get this, is if you have a shot of tequila right now, your thoughts are going to change pretty quickly. You didn't have to work to change your thoughts. You just change,
That's
you just
fast.
change your body chemistry, and all of a sudden the lampshade can become a sombrero, and you can be dancing up on top of tables.
That usually takes two
Uh,
shots for me, Mark, not just one. But yeah,
okay,
keep going.
yeah, for me at that time it was probably a bottle, but so. But so you can change your body chemistry to change your thoughts, and that's what we do here. Is rather than uh, working with the mind, we work with the body chemistry, which affects the conversations,
Hmm.
and it's a very different process to do it, and it's really really fast. It's kind of, and I equate it to kind of like riding a bicycle. No one can teach you how to ride a bicycle. They can help you find balance, but you got to find balance for yourself, right?
Yes.
And I took engineering classes. So I took calculus and differential equations in college. And if you asked me to go back and try to do some differential equation problems, I wouldn't have the foggiest idea of how to do them at this stage. But
I don't know
yeah,
if I can spell differential
right.
equations.
Well, we called it Diffie Q back then.
That's a lot easier.
Yeah, but a lot easier. And but riding a bike, even if I haven't had ridden a bike in 10 years or 15 years, I can still get back on the bicycle and ride. So
Yeah.
it's a sensation in the body, and once you have the sensation in your body, it's easy to recall it. So what we're doing
Okay.
is having people embody this sensation to be able to change their channel of thought. And
Yes.
once they do that, it's like ah, and then they have it to the degree they do. And it's just like like riding a bicycle, or let's say driving a car. If I asked you, hey John, you know how to drive a car? You'd go, of course I do. Right?
Yeah.
I go, great, John. We enrolled you in the Indy 500 next week. You're gonna be in the Indy 500 driving over 200 miles an hour. And you go, holy shit, I don't know how to drive a car like that, right?
Yeah, that's a
I thought
different
you said
thing
drive a
entirely.
car. That's a whole different type of machine, right?
Yeah.
So people will get an idea of the basics of this, and then if they desire to increase their skill level to take it to greater and greater heights, they come back and work with us on classes to further themselves. If that kind of makes sense. They get greater and greater skill sets.
That's right. Okay. So initially you're able to have the understand how to do this, and
Uh-huh.
you're experiencing a certain level of result,
Yes, sir.
right? A certain level of change, positive change in your life, but there's always more growth
Correct.
to create. And so by consistently working, you can grow
Yep.
more and more.
Yeah, and what I mean by growing, like you're talking about growing more and more, it's, to me, there's just this new trust in life begins to occur.
Mm.
And as the trust increases, your manifestations grow in boldness and velocity. So
In
it's,
boldness and velocity. Okay.
yeah. So
Explain
like
that
you may,
for us. Yeah.
yeah. So you may say, okay, so my outcome is to have a certain level of income and to have a certain relationship with my wife, or maybe you have health issues, whatever those things are.
Sure.
So all of a sudden you start to take care of that, and you start to use a system, and you go, oh, this system really begins to work. And as you start to notice that the system work, you become, like greater levels of daring, greater levels of courageousness, and applying the system to manifest greater and greater things for yourself.
That makes
You know,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's fascinating. And instead of looking at the result as this end all be all, it's the mastery of the system that people love, that people are really living for. It's more of the journey than like getting a yellow sports car and maybe a blonde or whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. It's very different, because those things, whatever the infatuation with those things, once you get them, That was okay. So now what's next? You know, and
That's right. They're not
so
fulfilling.
they're not fulfilling. But this,
Hmm.
I saw an interesting video on, Facebook or YouTube or something. A friend of mine sent it to me, and they were talking about the greatest feelings we could have as humans. They said
Yeah.
sex was an 8 out of 10, psychedelics was a 9 out of 10. That's why people get sidetracked. They get addicted to the sex or the drugs, or you put the two of those together, and that's pretty
Add
damn
rock
high.
and roll in there.
That's
It's a
rock and
wrap.
roll, yes sir.
Yeah.
And they said the only thing that was a 10 out of 10 was a conscious use of our co-creative gift.
Huh.
And
Wow.
I was, yeah, and I was like, whoa. When I read that, I was like, oh wow, what an experience. And all these things just start to happen out of it, and and it's the competency and the trust and the union with this manifestation technique that really fulfills the person.
Interesting. So I know that manifestation is a common topic, especially
Right.
now, right? If you believe it, you can achieve it, right? And
Yep.
there's different levels of manifestation. There's certainly one thing that I've just personally realized, and I share this with friends of mine. I shared it with my son the other day, is about vision. How you may not reach where your vision is, but you will not go beyond your vision, right? So it's rare that you're going to achieve more than you believe you can, right? So just the simple lesson here
Right.
is have a grand vision, right?
Yep.
And so there's these levels, examples of manifestation, and I'd love to get your response on how the Encompass Life
Is-
is different than simply if I believe it, I can achieve it, which is a pretty simple
Yep.
version of
So
manifestation.
when the way that people you're using the word believe, and the way most people use the word believe is a certain set of strict thoughts. Like some people can believe 2 plus 2 is 4,987. I'm right, and somebody
Yeah,
else can
good
believe
point.
2 plus 2 is 5,416. And people can argue over those beliefs for an eternity, like was going on in conflicts in the Middle East and stuff. Right?
Sure, sure.
So beliefs aren't the way we use here. Beliefs aren't a stringent set of thoughts. The word believe, the way we're using it here, is you actually become alive in what you're in your in your vision, or and what we say here is actually what you're seeing. So a lot of people will work on you gotta visualize, you gotta visualize, you gotta visualize. Well, visualization takes a lot of energy to do so, right?
Yes.
Yep. So the way it works here is the person can produce a brand new feeling in their body, and then all of a sudden they'll see a brand new lifeline. And then the belief means to be alive in that lifeline and find out what their character is in that lifeline, and adapt
Mm.
those characterizations to themselves. And then that lifeline comes into reality. And you were saying how um, that a lot of times doing it with the belief system that
Hmm.
that it's always less than what you believe. Like you can only get to that part. Well, with
Right.
the way we're doing it in here, as that person becomes alive in it, it's always greater than what they see.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
You're on the
very.
other side of
Yeah,
that
yeah,
barrier or that mark, right?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
rather,
It's
what I
always greater.
describe, yeah, so what I was describing earlier is trying to get up to here, and kind
Uh,
of what you're saying is no, getting beyond.
Hang on a second, man. I got something for you. Ready for
Please.
this?
What's that? It's
It's
a
a gold
star.
star, man.
Oh, thank you. Can I get a sticker version? I put it right here.
Gold star sticker, right?
I
And
appreciate it.
I just say how you got to chuckle at a little gold star deal, right?
That's right.
Okay,
Absolutely.
so most normal modalities takes 400 to 600 repetitions to create a pattern shift, to create a new habit. So it takes 3 weeks. When you use humor, it only takes 10 to 20.
Is that right?
Yeah,
How cool is that?
it's very cool. And the way we're doing it here, I think we're doing it even faster.
Uh-huh.
And we have neurologists studying what we're doing, and they're doing brain mapping on people's brains, like before and after a session, before and after a class, and showing the changes that are being made in that person's brain, and how areas of the brain that have gone atrophy come back alive. So
Wow.
instead of having the patterns fire the same neurological repetition, the same right,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden they begin to fire across the field and develop new neurological pathways in a matter of seconds or minutes. We got documentation on all this stuff.
And what is causing it? That's incredible. What is causing that?
We're creating a biochemical shift that's changing the way the brain operates. It's like if you were to take a shot of tequila, but once again, if you took a shot of tequila and brain mapped yourself before and after the shot of tequila, the brain firing was different. If you did cocaine or something and looked at yourself high or sober, right? So
Sure.
those things will affect a brain and have them. They're toxic to the system. But if there's
That's
certain
right.
chemicals that have toxic, there's also certain chemicals that are life giving. And so we're showing the person how to produce those chemicals that are which are life giving.
Incredible. And are you able at a high level? Obviously, we're not going to do a whole class here, or folks can get in touch with you and enroll in your university and learn all these techniques. But at a high level, I'm going back to the feelings, right? It sounds like it starts with feelings, and
Yes, sir.
feelings are incredibly powerful, especially with our memory,
Yeah.
right? And looking back, and so how do we go about at a high level, just an introduction
That's what
to
most people talk about. So
affecting?
they always go, well, how, right? Like you said,
Yeah,
you used the how thing. And in our system, there's no how. That's where people, this is a business, business class, right, or
of course.
business podcast.
Yeah,
A lot of business owners will have a great idea, and then they'll get stuck in the how am I going to implement it, and they can spend, days, weeks, years, sometimes decades being stuck in that quagmire.
I can
And
relate to that. Yeah, I've been
yeah,
a business owner myself and been stuck at
me
times. Yeah,
too.
absolutely.
Yep. And there's four chemicals that there's four chemicals that keep that person stuck. And those four chemicals are emotions basically, but they're shame, blame, guilt, and hate.
Yes.
So
Keep
what we
going.
do,
I'm
yeah.
taking notes.
Yeah. So what we do is there's a way to shut off the production of those chemicals that's keeping that person stuck in I can't and I don't understand and all that, and and have the person begin to produce chemicals. The class is called From How to Wow, right?
Yeah.
So they'll go straight to wow. Go wow! Now that I already got this, now that I already did this, and all of a sudden, as soon as they produce say that word, all of a sudden there's a new set of chemicals associated that activate different parts of the brain, and the person remembers what they did rather than trying to figure out what they're going to do.
Yeah. I'm tracking.
We can probably sit here and take a smoke break right now on this one, but I'm kidding. But yeah, it's really different, and it's a way to produce breakthrough results in a matter of seconds.
Incredible. Well, what I would love to touch on is how the application for entrepreneurs and business owners, as that is greatly the audience here on the Leverage podcast. But before we get into that, let's get a message from our sponsor, Sphere Rocket.
Business owners and entrepreneurs will place a proven executive assistant VA for just $4 to $8 an hour, and if they don't perform, you don't pay. Imagine freeing up 20 plus hours a week by someone handling your most time-consuming tasks like admin work, managing emails, scheduling meetings, and so much more. This one hire could transform your productivity and give you back the time you need to focus on growing your business. At Sphere Rocket VA, we make this possible in as little as 7 days. We'll place a proven executive assistant VA in your business for just $4 to $8 an hour, and your VA will take over day-to-day administrative tasks, help manage your email and calendar, follow up with past clients, giving you back 20 plus hours a week so you can increase your sales and even enjoy more personal time. And here's the best part. If they don't give you back 20 plus hours a week in the first month, you don't pay Sphere Rocket a dime. We've done this for thousands of business owners, and now it's your turn to see the results. Click the link around this video to schedule a demo and discover how this one hire can completely change how you run your business. Remember, if within 45 days the VA doesn't perform, you don't pay.
All right. So as we're discussing how to control our feelings, this biochemistry and the positive effects that are happening, let's get into some tangible call to actions here. If I'm a business owner, if I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm listening to the show and I'm thinking, wow, I get stuck, blame, shame, guilt, and hate. Yes. How do I get unstuck? Mark, what would your call to action be to help these folks get out of the rut and out of the cycle? Oh, I think we may have might have froze there, Mark. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, there we go. I've got you back here.
Thank you.
All right, let me just give you that question one more time,
Yes, sir.
and then we can go from there. All right, Mark. So we've learned these incredible lessons of, okay, we're affecting our feelings, which have affected our biochemistry, has affected our performance here. And so if I'm a business owner and I'm listening to this podcast and I'm thinking, okay, I want to get out of this rut. I can relate to the shame, blame, guilt, and
Yeah.
and I've been stuck. If I'm listening, what is my next step as a listener, being an entrepreneur or business owner? Oh, we may have you stuck again there. I think there's some laggy internet going on, it seems. Which is okay. That's why we're recorded, not live. Can you hear me over there by chance? Let's see. All right, Marcus hopped out, and I'm sure he's going to hop back in to join us. So while editing this episode, let's just make sure that we're cutting these clips out here. So, all right, Mark, I've got you back, and we'll edit this out, so it's no problem whatsoever. And we can just you can just start from there, and we can just take that question and then have you start there, or I can pose the question one more time.
Pose it one more time, please.
Absolutely, no problem at all. All right, Mark. So we have gone through these great lessons of really how to affect our feelings, how that affects biochemistry, and how that can really positively affect our performance. So if I'm a business owner, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm listening to this podcast right now, I'm thinking, okay, Mark, what's next? What is your call to action for those listening?
Yeah, so we have a variety of online classes. They're very simple. We have there's also a class called it's an online class that you take at your own pace, and I'd recommend you start there. And John, I can give you a link to be able to share with your people. If
that'd be great. We can link that in the episode.
If you have something that interests them, and it'll walk them through some really basic way to do it, and you can take it at your own speed. We also have a couple of live event classes. If people are interested in that, you can reach out to me at mark@encompasslife.com, and if you put in the John Davidson show or the Spear Rocket show, which by the way is a great company. I've worked with you guys before. Great service, great training, and all those things. Man, y'all really do fulfill what you say you're going to do.
Love that.
Get a little commercial in for you guys as well.
Yeah.
But you can reach out to me that way too, and just put in the John Davidson show, and I'll keep track of where it came from. But
Wonderful.
I'd love to chat with anybody who's doing this, who are interested in this. The breakthrough results people are having in their business is phenomenal, and the beauty of this is, there may be people who are pretty good at business, but then it's affecting their personal lives or affecting their health. the system we do here is going to affect all areas of your life, like the health side, the wealth, the relationship side. You may be having issues with your kids, whatever, all those things. There are some simple core issues that we have a way of working with that will change those relationships in all areas.
I love that. That's a great point that, hey, this isn't just about business. This is your personal life,
Yeah.
right? And also one could argue the way your personal life is going can greatly affect your business, right?
And the way business is going affects your personal life too, So rather than hiring three different coaches to just try what we're doing, and there's one thing that's affecting all three of those things, and we go to that one keystone, and when we shift that, everything shifts along with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then some people, I'm curious, some people may not take it all the way, right? Some people might do this one time and they're like, oh, I'm a little bit better. What would you recommend for people when they try this? You mentioned this works in seconds or minutes, and so you see an instant result a lot of times.
And some people will have a particular pain point in their life, and they'll come in and they'll get that addressed, and they're like, okay, I'm good now. Well, that's fine. To me, that's like the person is getting away from pain, and to me, the real meat and potatoes of what we're doing here, the real wow, is when you start to do it for, wow, this is really, really benefiting me. It's not just a way to get rid of the put out a fire somewhere, but what happens once that fire is out? How far can I actually take this? That's where it gets to be really fun.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times we're so limited, and I just like the pain I'm experiencing or the immediate challenge I'm experiencing. I just need to get over this thing, and we got to open our minds and our vision and say, hey, let me get all the way past.
Yeah, and just think, imagine the effect somebody has whenever once they get past that pain and they start doing it for benefit. One of the funny things, or beautiful things, I guess, really, is I work with some people who have a lot of pain going on in their life, and virtually every person who like, once you get through this, like, what are you doing now? And every one of them will say, I'm helping other people do what I just got through. So it's, I think that's an innate human nature we have, that as we start to create awareness, get awarenesses for ourselves, that somehow or another we're wired to share those awarenesses.
That's right.
And it's, be it with your kids, be it with the community, whatever. We have people going into prisons and bringing the system into prisons and making a tremendous difference with inmates as they get out. And the return rate of the people who go through these types of systems the people have trained with us, their return rate is far different than the people who don't have this system.
I bet.
Yeah, and they're taking a personal accountability and really, the pain, whatever the painful stuff you have in your life, those pains will stay in place until you can have a memory of the future that the pain will go, you mean I can be that? And then as you person begins to see that in their consciousness, those memories of those traumas or painful events or whatever, the event will actually get like pixelated. It will start to lose its detail, specificity, and then the new life will start to get greater and greater levels of specificity, and that energy just moves into it.
Out with the old, in with the new.
Yeah, but it's not like getting rid of something. Like most things, you got to get rid of this, you got to release this, you got to let this go.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think we hit a snag once again here. Let's see. You might want to try to go out and come back in one more time. That seemed to work pretty well for a while there.
Wow, this internet thing. Wow.
That's okay. We'll make it work.
Okay.
Do you want to
Yeah.
pop out or back
Yeah.
in,
So
or?
we're this university model. What we're doing, most most modalities, they said you got to release something, you got to let it go, you got to get rid of it. If you've been having these patterns for decades, some people, right, or some of them are, and in their lineage, um, those patterns are so entrenched. What we do here, rather than trying to get rid of things or release them or any of that stuff, is we sort of tell them you got to get a PhD in this stuff. So somebody has a uh, has a lot of anger, and all of a sudden they, instead of making it wrong and trying to get away from it, they say like, I'm gonna find out everything I can about it. What's this cost me? What's having me? What's the payoff for me having me in it?
Yeah.
What limitations is it producing in my life? How does it change? What does it change my situation? And what does it cost me in my body and all that stuff? Once you start to see all that, all of a sudden, instead of being in that fight or flight response, where I shouldn't have this, like you, it becomes an education, and you can help other people through it as well. You become greater levels of effectiveness.
I love
When
that.
you do the classes, your effectiveness in life is going to increase, and as well as the broadness of your ability to be effective.
Yeah.
Somebody's
Well,
reactive, smaller and smaller and smaller world. When you become have an effective, when you become uh, have an effective response, your ability to respond increases, as well as your responsibilities in life.
that's right. Well, I
Cool.
love that perspective too, just helping others. I as best I can seek to help others in my life, and I really look up to people like yourself, Mark, who have this mission and are living it in a way to really positively benefit others. Question for you: what do you want people to remember about what you're building and the impact that you're having?
Ah, man, what a question! What a question! Um, that anybody can. That, let me say this. Whatever, okay, where your life is really going to come alive is facing the things that you don't want to do and those things you don't believe you can do. As soon as you start facing those things, that's when you're going to start to really live your life. Until you do, you're living in a box of your own, a prison of your own demise.
Wow, yeah, great point. And how many of us avoid
Yep,
those things purposely because they're hard or they're painful or they're uncomfortable. And what
yep.
you're saying is
Go into
facing
them.
those head on delivers the freedom
Yep.
that we're
And
looking for.
I think I shared with you before, I had a speech impediment as a child. If I said a word incorrectly, I would get hit or yelled at. My speech impediment turned into a stuttering issue. I couldn't speak in front of a group of people. I would just sweat.
Wow.
And with this system, I went from a stutterer to clear speech and being able to speak in front of people in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, like
Incredible.
that fast. And that's when instead of facing that, instead of having that fear limit me, all of a sudden it became what I love doing. It's like, how did that happen?
Wow.
Yeah, really fun.
What a cool experience. Well, last question for you, Mark, is those who are listening who say, hey, I want to take advantage of this. I want to have this change happen in my life. How can they get a hold of you and get involved with Encompass Life?
Thanks. Same thing as before. I'll send you. You'll attach a link here for your people, and you can reach out to me. Mark at encompasslife.com is my email. Check out our website at www.encompasslife.com. Um, and we have a whole variety of ways for you to be able to, like, real simple set steps for you to be able to walk yourself in. And whether you're a business, if people go, well, you're a coaching university. Well, yes, but everything in life is coaching. I mean, if you're doing sales, you're
Sure.
coaching. If
Sure.
you're in a relationship, you're coaching. If you have kids, you're coaching. If you're desire to go to a new level in your life, that's coaching. And our
Yeah.
system gives you the skills to be able to coach yourself, your team, and become a greater leader, and be the, even if it's to be the dad you're proud of, or mom
Yeah,
you're proud of. It's, it's to me, it's a beautiful sacred path. It's awesome. So
I
check
agree.
it out.
Absolutely. Well, I encourage all our listeners and viewers to check it out as well. And I want to thank you, Mark, not only for the incredible work you're doing and how you're positively impacting people, but also thank you for joining me today on the Leverage Podcast.
You're welcome, John. Thanks for having me on, and really appreciate being here, sir.
My pleasure.